I think we're not moving off topic, but slightly. And now we're interrogating your reasons for deciding to move to Isipingo. And one of the reasons you stated, or two, related to risk and space. Correct?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. Are you familiar with the CHC Depot in terms of size and operations around there?
It was my first visit there, Commissioner.
And you complained that where the container had been placed was between two other containers, correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
And making operations difficult. Is it safe to assume that even if the containers are placed side by side, the door of the container is facing you?
That's correct, Commissioner.
So anything you take out of there, you will bring towards yourself.
That is correct, Commissioner.
If you look at these ones lined up, it's a different matter, but the manner in which they are lined up.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. So technically, you don't really need the space. Yes, we're trying to do that. Technically, you don't need the space to either side of the container, right?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
So the fact that the containers were lined side by side cannot be a basis to decide not to complete the search at the scene and rather go to Isipingo. The fact that they are side by side, that's the only point I'm making.
Okay. Commissioner, I think if we had to view photos of the actual placement of that container at the CHC Depot, we'll see the situation was a lot different than what we see on your screen now. It was a much more congested environment. Even when you open the doors, if you had to lay those bags on the floor, the area was minimal. It was a much, much smaller area than what we're seeing on our screens now. I think the closest we're going to get to know what it looked like was if we look at some of those photos that were flighted at some point in time, but it was a much, much smaller area that's as compared to this.
Chair.
How much more congested can it be? These are not just alongside each other, but they are against each other. So how much more congested can it be?
Meaning, Commissioner, in front where you open the doors, there was of a container.
There was a what?
The doors of your container. I would say, now I'll be estimating, Chair, but maybe there was a 2 meter, 3 meter, or maybe 2 meters, just over 2 meters space in front of it, where there was, I'm not sure whether it's a fence or some kind of boundary type thing where, and then you've got an area that you've got your heisters driving up and down, you've got machinery moving throughout. It wasn't a place like this where, now that I realize it, it wasn't a designated area for an examination of a container. It did not seem, and since I was not familiar with this warehouse, I just let it slide. I just let them place it down there. I was not familiar with the layout, but it was definitely much smaller, much more congested than
the many things you are referring to, were they on the door side of the container?
Yes, if you open the door, Chair, that's what I'm saying. In front of it, maybe there was a 2 meter, just over 2 meter space, a little area. That is why I said there was machinery traversing around. It's a thoroughfare area. It wasn't a designated area for examinations.
Thank you, Chair. But you recall when we started this engagement, the issue was the fact that there were containers on either side of the container you were targeting becomes irrelevant.
Yes.
Because you can't access the container from either end, right? You can only access it from the door as you are facing it. So what you should be concerned about is the space in front of the container, not to the sides of the container.
Yes, Commissioner.
Now, in response to the Chair, you mentioned
the front is the door side.
I say that front is the door side,
Okay,
the part where you open
Okay,
the
okay,
container.
okay.
For purposes of engagement, I'll call it the front of the container,
Yes.
which renders the side and the back wholly irrelevant.
Sorry, repeat
I
that.
say, if I'm correct in my description of a container, that renders either sides of the container and the back irrelevant.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, can
No.
I just elaborate why I mentioned that, Commissioners?
No, absolutely.
Just to show that even if we laid some in front of it and laid some of our exhibits on the side to start processing, there was no space in the front or the sides. I'm just trying to give the Commission an
I'm
idea
with
of
you.
the space.
In response to the chair's question, you said where this container was placed was not a designated area. You recall that?
Yes, I
Yes, sir.
recall that.
And you were aware at the time that they offloaded or lowered the container that was not a designated area. By that you mean a designated area for purposes of searching the container, I take it?
Yes, Commissioner.
When you notice then that they are lowering the container at a place other than the designated area, why didn't you stop them and instruct them to take it to a proper designated area to allow you to carry out your responsibilities?
Commissioner, it was my first visit to CHC. I assumed that was the area for placing containers. I can't tell you why. It was placed there. It was high up on a stack. Maybe it was difficult to get it to the examination area. I can't recall now. But for whatever reason, it was placed there. I did not object to it upon opening it. And especially more in light of the fact, Commissioner, that we weren't expecting a quantity like we did. So for me, when they placed it, I didn't think that we're going to have an issue now of space required for processing of exhibits.
Oh, so you knew it was not a designated area. You are unfamiliar with CHC Depot, and that is why you allowed them to lower it at the point that you did.
No,
But you already know it's not a designated area.
No,
You are the
Commissioner.
police officer. Let me just finish. You are the police officer in charge. You are the one who is instructing that that container be availed to you. You are aware at the time that where the point at which they avail it to you is not the designated area. And you shrug your shoulders and you say, well,
no,
my first time at CHC.
yes, Commissioner.
I misunderstood you?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay,
I
please.
was not aware that this was not a designated examination area. I wasn't even sure that they did have an examination area until I heard Warrant Officer Sanders' evidence here.
Colonel, you are the one who introduced the notion of designated area. You told the commissioners that
Yes.
where they lowered that container was not their designated area. So you
Yes.
can't now say that you were not sure whether they have one to speak of.
Commissioner, like I say, I'll say it again. It's only when I heard Warrant Officer Sanders' evidence that I heard of the magnitude of the examination area and the space in this said depot. I was not aware of it.
Okay, now you remember Ms. Pile, who's the depot manager.
Yes,
You engaged her,
yes, I did.
you obtained the relevant documentation from her.
Yes,
She was present when you broke the seal.
yes.
Why, when you realized the quantity then, did you not close the container, instruct her to take it to a proper place that would allow you to carry out your work?
Commissioner, I'll maintain by those reasons that I did mention before. All of those thoughts that were running through my mind in terms of the safety of that area, the fact that Isipingo was 4 kilometers away, the fact that we had no exhibit bags or not adequate exhibit bags for it. That's the reason.
Okay, now I'll accept those reasons. You'll accept that the risks that you now enumerate apply to all searches of containers at the CHC depot. They would apply to the distance to Umlazi stays the same, right?
Yes.
The area stays the same. Are you able to explain why it is just over a month, 999 kilograms could safely and properly be processed at the very scene that you say was highly risky because it's closer to Umlazi and the like? Are you able to come up with a logical explanation for that?
Commissioner, 999.
kilograms, yes, on the 30th of July 2021. You don't know of that seizure?
And which area was this, Commissioner?
It was at the CHC Depot.
No, I'm not aware of this.
It's very concerning, Colonel, because we are going to deal with this. Considering the position you hold now as we speak, we are going to deal with that seizure, and I'm very concerned that you say you've never heard of it. You are the head of, currently, the unit commander of Durban COCIU, which comprises of National Priority Violent Crime Section, SANEB, and EPR, and you don't know about that seizure.
Commissioner, the 999, as far as I recall, was not at the CHC Depot, but I could be mistaken.
Where was it?
It was at some other shipping yard, because I did go to the scene. But as far as I recall, it was not at CHC. I'm not sure if the Commission can indulge.
Okay, I think I get your point. So you say I'm making the mistake in thinking that it was the same place.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I can't.
No, I'm happy to take the mistake and be duly corrected. So if I misunderstood somebody's evidence, I'll accept that. But your point is that that particular seizure did not take place at CHC Depot.
Not that I can recall of.
I'll cross-check on that and I'll come back to you.
Before you
Yes, Chair.
move further away, I just want to make an observation about something you said, Mr. Law.
Indeed, Chair.
You said you accept the reasons. I just want to disabuse your mind, Colonel,
Yes.
of any possible misunderstandings. I hope Ms. Sildo did not mean that the reasons that she says she accepts are acceptable.
Yes, Chair.
That's something we will weigh down the line.
Indeed.
Yes.
So she accepts that subjectively those were your reasons,
Yes.
but not necessarily
say
that
that.
they
Yes, I
are
understand,
acceptable.
Chair.
I'm not saying they are not acceptable.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for the precision. I was loose in my words, and by accept is I am not going to challenge you on the reasons that you put forward, but I too am not drawing a conclusion that those reasons are correct. That's what I meant, and the Chair was very helpful in that regard. So thank you, Chair. You understand my position, Colonel.